So, good morning, everyone. Good evening, people in the US and other countries. Today we're going to look at the path towards the psychic being, the journey towards the psychic being. Monica is going to describe how we can grow in the psychic light, which is essential for our well-being, which is essential for understanding life, not just phenomena such as illness. So it's going to be a marvelous session, I'm sure. So it's a shame that this workshop is ending, because I think we could have gone on even longer, but there we are. So over to you, Monica. It's all yours.
Thank you so much, James. So namaste everyone. Hello. So last day I left on a note that we don't have to let anything come in between me and my peace. Why? Because I have seen through my own experiences in life that whatever I am aiming at, I want it for my peace and well-being. Why do I want good health? Because I'll be happy, I'll be peaceful, right? Now there is disharmony in the being and it is creating a lot of disturbance. So I am non-peaceful right now. If somebody tells me today that when health comes to me, it will bring me misery, I would actually not want it. I would say, okay, I am fine the way I am. So this has to be clearly understood through our life experiences, that all we hanker after is peace and inner joy. If the so-called job, if the so-called relationship, if the going away of an illness brings me more and more misery, then I would not really want it. So knowing this, growing in this understanding, now there is a life possible for me where I can live out of goodwill and a sense of understanding. So I know that I react to certain life situation again and again in a similar way, but a bit of me, a part of me also knows that that is not right for me. And we all have that knowing. There is no one here who would not have the knowing what is right for me. Now that is a different case, that we are not able to implement it in life. And we will talk about it. Why are we not able to implement? Now this little feeble voice in my being, which always has the right understanding, is the light of the psychic, is the psychic presence. I don't have to go about the word psychic. Don't get lost in the word. Because we have seen that many people just now begin to run after the psychic. When will I reach my psychic being? That becomes a misery now. That becomes a burden on the head. So we are not going to go after the word. In Mother's descriptions also, psychic being is the power of knowing what is right for me. And as we will see further, the 11 points that Mother shares, the journey towards the psychic, all of them are just living a life rightly in knowing what is beneficial for me. Nothing mumbo jumbo about psychic. That, okay, what is this entity called psychic being? We don't have to pressurize about that. So those of us who already know about this word psychic can almost forget about it. Those of us who don't know about it, it's good that we don't know. Because then the mind can begin again another seeking game. First it was running after the world, the pleasures of the world, the body, the relationships, wanting peace through them. And now it has changed the game, it seems. It says, okay, now when I will find the psychic, I will rest then. And that is not the deal. So the game of the mind is still the same. It is still running. First it was running after the world, and now in the spiritual game, it is still running. This is not what I am sharing here. I am talking about completely transforming the game of the mind, making the running mind a restful mind. Why? Because knowing that nothing on earth can give you peace and happiness. Because your true nature is peace and happiness. Hence, it cannot be gotten from anywhere. Now, when I begin to listen to more and more of this, inner light of understanding which is there, and we all have that. I was sharing with you. We all have that. Imagine that I worry about my disease or illness, or maybe a disease or illness of a loved one. Now, a little bit of voice in me knows that this is not the right way to go. Worrying excessively is not the right way to go. That is the voice of understanding. Now, can I stop, pause, and look at it that yes, can I follow that voice? Can I follow that voice? Because I have followed this emotional vigor enough, and I have fallen on my nose several times. I see that it makes me more restless. So can I follow that little guiding light? It's a very feeble light. It's not aggressive. It's just a little like a ripple, that I am there. You can follow me also. But I decide to do something else. So we will first talk about the psychic word, but then we will also forget about the word. Because now there is no game, there is no competition that I want to run and reach the psychic. Psychic is not an object. The speaker is an object. Now if you run towards the speaker, you can, in some point of time, you will be able to touch the speaker. But since divine is infinite, our own essence is also infinite. So I can never say I have touched my essence and I know it, because you can only know an object. This is an object, I can know it. This is not the divine, this is not the infinite. This is a manifestation of the divine in form of an object. But it's not the divine itself, which is infinite, formless. So you cannot reach ever the formless. And in Mother's prayers and meditations, Mother says that the closer I move towards thee, the further you go. Why? Because the divine is infinite. Divine is not an object. So you cannot reach the object, reach the divine, right? So this I have to clearly understand, that there would never be one day when I can say, yes, I have reached the psychic being. Because psychic being is not an object. Mind grapples after objects. So the mind cannot grasp psychic being. Psychic being is just this power of right understanding. The rightness in our life. And we all have that knowing. That knowing is available to each one of us. I may be smoking a cigarette, right? And smoke 100 cigarettes per day. Now a certain voice in me tells me, you will die one day of this cigarette. You can drop it right now. But I don't care to listen to that voice. Because the tendency to follow the cigarette is so strong, I can't rest. But once I have some disease like cancer or anything else, owing to whatever I was doing, now owing to my own experiences, I can rest. Now I begin to listen more to the psychic voice. Why? Because now I have seen. Now I have experienced for myself that did not lead me anywhere. It just went me into a trap, got me into a trap. So that is why where our personal life experiences come to a big help. Because then, living with the life experiences, falling on my nose again and again with the life experiences, now I am convinced that all that is worthy of doing is to listen to this little voice within me, which always knows. and hence the difference between living and knowing, gradually decreases. Now what is living is my tendencies, my patterns, my thought patterns, my emotional patterns. Now this psychic voice is also there. This inner voice is also there. It says in between, you need not talk to that person about that because it doesn't help anytime. So this voice tells you. But the tendencies are so strong that I don't stop. Slowly, out of my own wisdom and understanding, when I listen more to this voice, which is very feeble, I give it more power. I give it authority. Now the tendencies are also there. The usual ways of my life and reactions are also there. But then slowly they lose grip. They go down. So the master is this inner voice. The master are not the vigor of tendencies. And this I have to do. Right now I am giving it vigor. I am giving the tendencies a vigor. Because I am following them blindly. No matter how many times I fall on my nose, I follow it blindly. I follow it blindly. Now when I get a disease or any other, understanding comes in my life, I see that this voice is the most important voice. This may be very feeble, but this is the most important voice. So I begin to listen to its dictates rather than following the tendency. It may be discomforting in the beginning, but still I do it. Still I do it. And slowly the tendencies, although they are still there and they will stay as long as I am alive, they lose grip. In right understanding, I know what is beneficial for me and for the other person. So in short, this would be the calling of my being. This knowing that in goodwill, what is good for me? What is good for the other person? Is being physically close to the other person doing us any good? No, it's not doing me any good. Okay, so let's go through this discomfort, stay apart for some time and let things resolve. So although it is very discomforting in nature, yet you see that it is important to be done. So the psychic path is not an easy path. This path of following the right understanding is not a very easy path. But somewhere it is the right path. I know that this is the right path. So as if you are choosing your difficulties. The normal life with tendencies is also difficult. Struggle, strangulation. This life with the right understanding is also discomforting. But there is goodwill there. You know that this is right. So this is where we make use of our choice. Yeah. Now we don't have to bother about the ego or the tendencies being there. They will stay as long as the life is there. Kabir says in one of the verses, couplets, that as long as a sadhak or a person has breath in the body, the ego will stay. So don't fight with the ego. You cannot fight with an illusion. Imagine that you go on the road and there is mirage that you see. You see that, oh, there is water on the road out there. You cannot fight the water. You cannot fear the water. The only thing that you can do is go closer to it. The closer you go to a mirage without fear, in fearless spirit, the closer you go to the mirage for investigation, you see that the water is not even there. What am I needing to fight against for? I don't need to fight against anyone. So let the tendencies be there. Let the normal reactions be there. I'm not saying that follow their dictates. You will see that the reaction is wanting to emerge in the being. Let it be there. But at the same time, I will do what is right in this moment. Now that brings me to the point of aspiration. Now somebody asked Mother, Mother, what about peace? How to instill peace in the being, and how can we grow peace in the being? Mother says, first of all, you must know that this is all you want. If I also want approval from others, if I also want smiles on the faces of others towards me, if I also want appreciation from others, validation from others, if also I want some fame and name, then you decide your priority, whether you want peace or all that. So first I have to be really sure through my own life experiences that all I want is peace in the being. And all my actions must come out of a peace and calm. So this is my aspiration. This is my willingness that I want to live a life of peace. Once this is set, then the point of rejection comes. As if you are cleaning a temple. Now inner temple is being cleansed of all the garbage, unnecessary stuff. And Mother says that you be like a flower. Be like a child, self-absorbed. Now, look at a child. Look at an infant. He is not bothered about what people think of him. He is not bothered about what will people think of me when I fall while walking. What will people think of me when I'm crying or doing potty? A child is unbothered. Exactly that has to be lived. We have to be unbothered about what others think of us. Following this inner light of understanding, I have to be like a flower, completely self-absorbed and ingathered. All I am concerned with is my own progress and inner contentment. And I'm not going to use any external means as a means to an end. This person must give me happiness. This disease going away must give me happiness. This vacation must give me happiness. So I am stopping abusing all the things in the world in order to give me happiness. I am taking the onus on my own self. Completely responsible for my own self. And yet not responsible, because the duty belongs to the divine. But also to me, because I am divine. So there cannot be a passivity there. I have to be on my guard, watching all the inner movements, seeing what disturbs, dropping that, seeing what is okay, observing that. Right? So now after aspiration for peace, what comes to me is rejection. Rejection of all that disturbs me. Mother talks about getting a sense of unease. Whenever you sense an unease in the body, be on guard. Because that unease is there. Definitely you have gotten some burden on your head today. Is that worth carrying? Because remember your aspiration. What is your aspiration? Peace. Now if peace is to be maintained, do I need to carry that burden on my head? That's a different case, that you will take the necessary action needed in your life. But that can be done in a calm attitude also. I need not worry first and then take the action. I can be calm and take the action, knowing that nothing can give me anything and nothing going away from my life can take away anything. So this certitude has to slowly grow in the being. Now this is rejection. Rejection is happening. Now if I'm sitting, I'm all by myself and thoughts of past come to me. Now I am on my guard. I see that, okay, is this giving me ease or is this making me uneasy? Uneasy. Drop it. Stop it immediately. Stop the obsessive loop of thinking immediately. Okay, disease. I'm sitting. Thoughts of disease come to me about the future, about the past, about what my children will do after I'm gone. All kind of that thoughts, the vicious loop of thoughts. So is it making me uneasy, burdened, or is it making me easy? Uneasy. Drop it immediately. And this is how I'm exercising the power of will. This is how I'm gymming the power of will. The willpower in me. That I don't want any uneasiness in the being. I just want peace and calm in the being. I'm sure about that. So my priority is set. And that is why Mother asked that sadhak, what do you really want? First decide that. If you still want to have the juica, the rasa of the past and future worries, enjoy it. If you still want the rasa of the miseries, enjoy it. But once you are sure that all I want is peace, then you take the step in that direction. So all the thoughts that bother me, no matter how important they may appear, I don't have to think about them. Reject, reject, reject. All those people who I feel whenever I interact with them, they burden me. Reject, reject. I'm not saying that slap that person, just inwardly. Don't spend time with that person. Give yourself this, make an act of kindness towards yourself. You are not obligated to spend time with anyone who drains your energy. Once you have that strength and you want to make a difference, go out. But once you are nurturing, just like a small plant has to be nurtured, you put a fence around that plant so that no animal can come. But once it is a tree, it is out and open. So when we are growing in this right understanding, we need a preservation. We need this fence around us. So reject all those situations which are draining in nature. You are not obligated, just because you are a daughter-in-law or daughter, that you have to fit in this role and that person you must talk to. No, you are not that important. You are not that important. Right? So it's fun being nobody. It's fun being free. And we deserve that fun. So this has to be really clearly seen for myself, that anything that burdens me, makes me heavy, has to be immediately rejected, either in external situations, avoiding those situations, or in my head, thinking about those situations has to be avoided. I will not be able to avoid it as long as I feel that it is giving me some rasa and juice. I will not be able to avoid it. I will only be able to stop the vicious loop of thinking when, in understanding, I know that this has not served me any purpose so far, and hence I want to live a different life. Only then this can happen. Now, there is a lot of witnessing that is happening here. When we are on guard in our being, there is a lot of witnessing of inner movements happening. Now, this witnessing is a passive witnessing. It's not an action of the mind. Now, you cannot say, don't bother me, I am witnessing. We cannot make witnessing into an activity of the mind. We'll be fooling ourselves. Witnessing is a natural aspect of our being. We are usually unaware that it is there. All I am doing is turning my attention within to the ever-present witnessing going on. I am not witnessing. It's not an action that I am doing. And hence it cannot be stopped. Now I am holding the speaker. So now I am not holding the speaker. This is an action. But witnessing is not an action. It is like space. It is forever present. All I do is turn my attention to that space, to the witnessing going on. Right? So this has to be also I feel that one has to be careful, because more often we, on the spiritual path, we make it into a practice. That what am I doing? I am witnessing. No, you don't have to stop that you are witnessing. I am not doing any other activity, I am witnessing. Witnessing is forever going on in the being, and that is what is our, stepping back. Mother says, become aware of that part in your being which is never going up and down in the ups and downs of your life. This witnessing aspect is never going up and down in the ups and downs of my life. Because how can I measure an earthquake if the measuring machine, the earthquake, which is measuring the earthquake, is itself swaying up and down? I cannot. So the machine which is measuring the earthquake will not be able to measure the ups and downs of the earthquake if it is itself moving. So this immovable witnessing presence is already at work in me. I don't have to do anything about it. And that is why it has been able to witness, because it is immovable presence in me. It is untouched by all my miseries and suffering. Why? And that is the indication, because it has seen my miseries and sufferings. It has seen me going up and down in my miseries and suffering. So this presence is immutable, unmovable. Nobody can give me this presence. And hence, nobody can take it away from me. This is an essential part of my being. This is my true essence. So this, once understood, I can again and again through all life movements, take stance as the witnessing aspect. Okay, imagine that I experience something really negative in the being, some jealousy or anger, or which I don't really want to own. I say, oh my God, jealousy is still there in me, right? Yes, it is still there. It will remain. And you are untouched. You are witnessing the jealousy. You are not following the dictates of jealousy. You are not following what anger is trying to tell you, do, kill that person or whatever. You are not following the dictate, but you are the witness. So the moment a ripple of anger comes in the being, a ripple of negativity or anything, even positivity comes in the being, you step back and take a stance as the witnessing presence. As the blue sky, which is able to watch the dark clouds, knowing that I am not the dark cloud. Owing to my presence, the dark cloud can appear or disappear. But I am not the dark cloud. This dark cloud is not essential to my being. So again and again in my journey, I have to take stance as the witnessing presence. So something is happening to my body. Since we are in this illness, understanding illness, right? Something is happening in my body. Who am I? Am I the body? Am I the disease? No, I am not that. And hence, in calm and certitude and inner poise, I can take any step required to take care of it, if it is required. And this makes me into almost a fearless position, that now I am not afraid of dying anymore. I am not afraid of dying. So long as I know myself as the dark cloud of disease, of body, of anger, all these clouds, then I will be afraid, because this will come and go, this will come and go, come and go, come and go. But this never goes away. The blue sky never goes away. The witnessing presence never goes away. So if I am that, what is the fear? Now I can take any step needed in the right direction. But I will not be fearful of any happening. So this, once understood, gives more and more strength to me to live life. The life becomes lighter. And I deserve this lighter life each moment of my life. We have to again remember, what is my aspiration? Nothing should come between me and my peace. Only then instilling peace and talking about peace can be helpful. If I am sure that the external world can give me something which is more valuable than peace, go ahead, make your journey in that direction. But if I am sure, owing to my own experiences, that nothing from external world can make me peaceful, and hence I am not obligated to follow any dictate, then I can take this stance and reject all the movements that are unnecessary, being very sensitive to the unease in the being. The moment unease is there, become very sensitive. That unease is a signal from the inner being that I'm not fine with that. It's uncomfortable. The burden is not needed. That unease is a signal. A child cries. Through the cry, the child wants to tell something. So this unease of the being is a signal from the inner being that this is not right. You don't deserve that burden. Yeah? So again, I'll take more time for questions. I would love to interact. And any questions, just keep writing. So with this, I would just take a few moments to reflect upon 11 points shared by the mother on journey towards the psychic, or journey towards a right life, if I can say. Journey towards a right life in the sense that a life which is good for me and which is also beneficial for others. Yeah, where I'm not torturing myself and I'm not torturing and abusing others. In short, we can also call it that. Yeah. Now there is, again, we have to remember that there is nothing to be found. There is nothing that I'm going to touch one day. I cannot grasp the divine. But I will be very, there are signals on the path that there is a growing contentment in the being. You are not using and abusing life situations and people for your happiness and peace. So you will still relate in relationships with yourself and the world, but you will not be using them for your peace and happiness. That would be the difference. So these are the signals on the path. And the path itself is so beautiful and adventurous that who wants something else than the path itself? Yeah. So this is Collected Works of Mother, Volume 12. Mother talks about psychic and spiritual education. There Mother has shared 11 points, journey towards the psychic. And I think these points are so deep and rich that they can be just a mantra for a whole of a lifetime. And I will be at it. Not like frustratingly running after it, but in calm and wisdom, in inner poise, I just try to see that what these points can give me. Mother says that the starting point is to seek in yourself that which is independent of the body and circumstances of life. The witnessing aspect, for example, we were touching upon. That which is not swaying with the swaying of the ups and downs of life. That which is untouchable, untouched by the external experiences of life. Now I may have a disease, the body may have a disease, but the witnessing never falls ill. I may be physically having an issue with the one or the other limb. The witnessing would never have any issue. It is untouched by the condition of the body. So first that, and I would gently invoke all of you to go through that passage if you can and reflect in silent times on these passages. Collected Works of Mother, Volume 12, Psychic and Spiritual Education. Now, directly jumping to the 11 points, the first and perhaps the most important point Mother says is that the mind is incapable of judging spiritual things. All those who have written on this subject have said so, but very few are those who have put it into practice. And yet, in order to proceed on the path, it is absolutely indispensable to abstain from all mental opinion and reaction. Now, if I look at my own life, how I live a life, always marred, tarnished with mental opinions and reactions about myself, about people, about situations in life. That situation was a bad situation. Why did that happen to me? We are always judging situations based on our limited understanding. Mother says, be aware of that. abstain from declaring anything black or white. So mother is kind of poking us towards a very beautiful state. The mind always wants to box things, either in black or white, either in life or death. The mind will always categorize things. Now mother is saying hanging the mind. This is where mother is trying to kind of, send us. And in hanging, where mind is not able to exert its function of categorizing, the mind is dipped in its essence, the source. What is the function of the mind? To calculate, to categorize, to box. What am I doing? I am not allowing it to categorize and box. I am saying this situation appears sad, but let me see what it has to offer. So you are hanging the mind in the middle. When the mind is not able to actively engage in categorizing, it is dipped in its essence, the source of the mind, still. This is the first step, mother says. Not first in the order, but the first point. So whenever you see that there is a movement in the being where I want to declare anything as good or bad, hang on, mother says. Don't declare anything yet good or bad. Keep yourself open. So there is an increasing suppleness in the mind. That person may appear threatful, but let me see for myself what self-revelation there lies for me. Yeah, so that is how I grow in expanding the limits of my mind. Second point, give up all personal seeking for comfort, satisfaction, enjoyment or happiness. Be only a burning fire for progress. Take whatever comes to you as an aid to your progress and immediately make whatever progress is required. So mother is saying, give up all personal seeking for comfort, satisfaction, enjoyment and happiness. Now it almost seems impossible, because my life is this. My life is seeking comfort. My life is seeking satisfaction through situations. My life is enjoyment and happiness. And mother is saying, give up. How can I do that? Now remember, what is my priority? Peace. Somebody is unmuted. Could you please mute yourself? There is a little echo. Yeah. Thank you. So here I realize that if my priority is to live a better life, a newer life, I will actually try this new way. Knowing that nothing external can bring me comfort and satisfaction. The very comforting bed can become very discomforting when mentally and emotionally I am agitated, saying that the bed was not able to actually provide me with the comfort. So no external situation can give me peace and happiness and comfort. Hence, I can give up all the seeking for that. So it's again coming out of my own understanding. If I am not at the point yet to understand that, do all the things other that you want. Once you fall on your nose again and again, and you realize the futility of knocking at every door, then this will appear more real. Yeah, so we have to be very practical here. I cannot force myself to this. I can only naturally arrive at this. Yeah. Then mother says, be burning fire for progress and take whatever comes to you as an aid to your progress. Any life movement, any life situation, any relationship breakdowns, any illness, just take it as what it is trying to reveal to me. Like a scientist, like a curious explorer. Okay, disease, let me see what this disease has for me. Fearlessly. Why fearlessly now? Because you are taking more and more stance as a witnessing presence in your being. The body identification is becoming lesser and lesser. and hence you can be fearless in this exploration. So I will not be wanting comfort better than progress. So far I have been living a life of comfort and satisfaction. What has it gotten me? And hence I want to live a life of progress and self-revelation, no matter how discomforting it may be. Yeah. The third point is, try to take pleasure in all you do, but never do anything for the sake of pleasure. So why do we do anything for the sake of pleasure? Because, imagine that I am feeling miserable. Now I don't really investigate why I am feeling miserable. I just go ahead, meet a friend, or I go and have a chocolate or have ice cream. Now in the moment of having an ice cream, I am not feeling miserable for 2 moments. For two moments in my being, misery is not there. Yeah, so a desire was there owing to the misery. A desire was there. Desire was there for satisfaction, for maybe a little bit of pleasure, happiness. We all want that. In the moment of having the ice cream, there was no desire in that moment, because the desire was being fulfilled. So the happiness that I felt, even though it was a momentary happiness that I felt, it was not owing to the ice cream. Because there are moments when ice cream is there, but I am not really happy. So in that moment of having the ice cream, owing to the fact that no further desire was not there in the being, no dark cloud was there on the blue sky, I experienced the inner joy of my own blue sky. So the ice cream was not able to really give me happiness. It was not the ice cream that gave me happiness. It was not that person who gave me happiness. It was the absence of desire in that moment that cleared the sky, and my inner truth shined out in that moment, shone out. The inner joy shone out, and I experienced that happiness for a moment. Now after the ice cream is over, some other thought may overwhelm me, and again the dark cloud may start to brim in the blue sky of my own being, and I may lose that sense of happiness, owing to the presence of the dark cloud of seeking and desire. So Mother says that take pleasure in everything that you do. Everything that you do, make it a process of self-revelation. Okay, what is it trying to tell me? Okay, let me do this today and find out for myself how maybe something about me gets revealed in the process. So take pleasure in everything you do, but not do anything for the sake of pleasure. And now in this, I would stop consuming people and situations for my happiness. That's what I do. You are supposed to give me happiness. The disease, when it goes away, must give me happiness. I will stop abusing the body for that. I will tell the body that you are not responsible for my peace and happiness. That's me, that's my issue. I will take care of that. You can be. So you give yourself a lot of space and others also a lot of space in the process. Never get excited, nervous or agitated. Remain perfectly calm in the face of all situations. Yet always be alert to discover what progress you still have to make and lose no time in making it. Now, why do I get agitated in first place? Because I feel that if I get agitated, I will make something, fix something in external situations that will bring me to ultimately peace and contentment. Once I am sure that nothing can bring me peace and contentment, I will not get agitated. I may still take the right action, but without agitation. Because I am the one responsible for my own peace and happiness, and not that external situation. And consider the body also external. So wanting the disease to go away and then waiting for the happiness to arrive, contentment to arrive, is something which I don't want to go anywhere, anymore now in that direction. I am responsible for my contentment right now in the middle of the disease. So I will not ask the disease to go away. It will go away by itself when it sees that, oh my God, nobody pays me attention. It will randomly fall away. Yeah. Never, next point, never take physical happenings at their face value. They are always a clumsy attempt to express something else, the true thing which escapes our superficial understanding. Now, all the happenings in life, we always try to judge them. Oh my God, my loved one has a disease, it must be really bad, all that. Oh my God, I have to separate in this relationship, very bad, very bad. So mother is saying never take physical happenings. Illness is also a physical happening on their face value. So can I go deeper, not just remaining on the surface of the illness, and see what good change in my life that illness wants to bring? Focus on that rather on the illness. Illness will take care of itself in its own good time. It may or may not go away, but it will definitely change the quality of your life. Yeah. Whatever you do, the next point, never complain of the behavior of anyone unless you have the power to change in his nature what makes him act in this way. And if you have the power, change him instead of complaining. So this point will remove a lot of burden from the head and also give me a lot of empty space. Because usually we are so occupied thinking about what others are doing, how to fix their behavior, that when we get rid of this, we realize that, oh my God, there is so much time available to me. What do I do with this time? So first of all, we begin to enjoy that emptiness of the being, of the mind, and then slowly we can fill it up with beautiful things which matter. And then mother says that if you have the power to change or talk to the person, if the person is receptive, if you can fix something, help something there, help it. But if you see that the person is not receptive, it never helps, or you don't want to bang your head on the wall, don't bother yourself much and stop complaining. By stopping complaining, it does not mean that you are suppressing the complaints. In your wisdom, you realize that complaining is neither beneficial for me and not for the other person. So if you can talk, make things happen, talk. But if you cannot, just engage in other beautiful matters. Next point is, whatever you do, never forget the goal which you have set before you. The goal was to go on this path of discovery. Discovery of a right understanding, discovery of the guiding light within the being. And following these points, I see that the guiding light is with me all the time. There is nothing great or small once you have set out on this great discovery. All things are equally important and can either hasten or delay its success. Thus, before you eat, concentrate a few seconds in the aspiration that the food you are about to eat may bring your body the substance it needs to serve as a solid basis for your effort towards the great discovery and give it the energy for persistence and perseverance in the effort. Now it takes only 2 seconds when you are eating or beginning to eat, 2 seconds to calm your own inner being and calm the food and then take the food in. Only 2 seconds, not much of a time. Those of us who are inclined to the mother, they can remember the mother with the food and then take it. What happens in this 2 or 10 seconds is it stills the being. It brings peace in the being. And anything that is done with peace will always be beneficial for everyone. For the body, for the persons around. So the very food that used to upset my tummy will, with more and more of this practice, not upset the tummy anymore in gradual process and time. Yeah? So the more stillness, the more the capacity of me to harmonize the elements of my being. Yeah. Before you go to sleep, concentrate a few seconds in aspiration that the sleep may restore your fatigued nerves, bring calm and quietness to your brain, so that on your waking you may with renewed vigor begin again on your journey to the path of great discovery. So this we discussed yesterday also, instilling peace in the being, calling peace in the being before going to sleep, being absolutely still, coming up from the sleep, moments in absolute stillness, and then wake up. Those of us who have connect with the mother, they remember the mother. Those of us who don't have connect with the mother, that's okay too. Just a journey of self-revelation, this path of self-revelation is enough. That is the mother. So whether we have the connection with the form or not a connection, it does not matter. Mother is still there. Mother is not dependent on her form. Yeah? But if there is a connection with the form, use it. Before you act, concentrate in the will that your action may help or at least in no way hinder your march forward towards the great discovery. Now, whenever I am acting in the world, imagine that I am meeting a friend. I am going to meet for a meeting. I am going to go for my doctor's appointment. Everywhere I am taking this session, I can take a few seconds to remember the mother or just offer the interaction to the universe. May the best happen for me and for everyone through this interaction. Now in there you are leaving all your mental opinions and judgments aside. You are not saying may it happen what I am thinking. You are saying may the best happen for myself and for everyone. So you are putting away your mental opinions and judgments. They may still be there. Let them lurk around in a corner. But you are not buying into their dictates. They may or may not be followed. But I am not wanting them to be followed. I am not fueling them, propagating them. Yeah. In that I spread an aura of goodwill. That yes, this interaction, may it be beneficial for me and for others, no matter what direction it may take. So that is about actions. Yoga, karma yoga. When you speak, before the words come out of your mouth, concentrate just long enough, not really long enough, mother says just long enough to check your words and allow only those which are absolutely necessary to pass, only those that are not in any way harmful to your progress on the path of great discovery. So if I want to live a life in more inner poise and towards inner guiding light, the light of the psychic, the words I speak should only be the words which are not propagating me and my judgments, the ego, but the words which are beneficial for me and the other person. And in that you will see that most of the times you will be actually silent. You will not have things to say. Because we realize that there are many things that we say which are not needed to be said. They are not required to be said. They burn the other person and they burn you in the process. So you will abstain from that. You will conserve a lot of energy in that process. And a lot of empty space will be there, which slowly you can enjoy that empty space and energy. And also that energy can be put into actions which are worthy of doing. And only you can decide which are the actions which are worthy of being followed and which are not worthy of being followed. Just because you have the access to this guiding light within the being. Yeah, I'm summing up, and after that we'll take up any doubts and questions or reflections. The last point mother says, to sum up, never forget the purpose and goal of your life. The will for great discovery should be always there above you. Above you. This is of great significance. Above what you do and what you are, like a huge bird of light dominating all the movements of your being. So I'm going to interact with this person and my tendency says all the words that I want to blurt out to that person. But above me is this bird which tells me that this is not the way to go. So who do I fuel? this bird or my tendency. So you, with great discomfort, because old habits die hard, old habits give discomfort while you are leaving them. With great discomfort, you do not blurt that word out in front of that person. You follow the guiding principle and you say, all I want is peace and harmony in the being. And this, even if I don't say this out, it is not necessary. There may be moments which speaking out and taking a stand may be necessary. And again, you will be guided. So, more and more I become sensitive to my own inner guiding light. I see that yes, it is always there. I can always access it. It's not something other people can give it to me. It is available to me. So no master, no mystic can give this guiding light to me. The masters and mystics, the words of masters and mystics, what they do? They dispel the dark clouds so that we can see for our own self that, oh my God, this guiding light is with me all the time. I am fully capable and enabled. Yeah. So I think that is where I would like to stop. I extended a bit owing to covering these 11 points. So yeah, I'll just take a moment to pause and open to discussion and questions.
Yeah, thank you, Monica. Those 11 points were very nicely put into context. Thank you. So does anyone want to step forward on this great discovery and make a comment or give some feedback or raise any doubts or ask a question? We'd love to hear from you. Just unmute yourself, turn your video on, and share with us what you want to say.
Can I speak, Monica ji? Yes,
Hey.
yes. So thank you. I don't know if my video is on. I'm new to this app. I don't know if it's on. Is it on?
Your video is not on, but your audio.
Anyway, it's not. Is it yes now? Yeah. So thank you so much for this very enlightening and thoughtful conversation. This is a question actually regarding something which was connected to your previous two meetings. The sense of doership. How I know that the sense of doership, when you look into that, it comes from a sense of your own ego. But in practical life, how do you actually move away gradually from this sense of doership? In my knowledge, it actually comes more and more surrender towards the divine. But if there can be some more practical tips, because in the sense of doership, you take a personal responsibility too for any action or anything that takes place in your life. So that's a sense of, one of course always also says, in Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna also says, it's not you who are doing anything, it's me. But to make it a little more concrete and practical in real life, if you have any tips, then, it will benefit. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Maya ji, for the question. I think this will benefit all of us because we are burdened with a sense of doership. Can you mute yourself, Dr. Maya?
Yes, yes, sorry.
That's okay, yeah. So what I see is, how I see is this, that even if we look at the facts of life, for example, this breath that is going on in my body, I have no control over when it goes away. I have no control over all the thousands of processes going on in my body. And it is owing to that animating presence in the body that I work, over which I have no control whatsoever. So if this person is not animated, I cannot be the doer, right? And I see that I have no power whatsoever. In 1 second I may be gone. So where does this sense of doership come anyway? We would see that it is very, almost we have to hallucinate, to be the doer. Because I can see that breath is not in my control. When the breath is gone, I have no power. A lightning may strike and I am gone. All my plans are, there waiting in my papers forever. So even if I see clearly the facts of life, I see that there is nothing in my hands. I am able to do, yes, but I am being able to do because there is an animating presence that is making me able to do. So that ability to do is provided from a higher power. As you were sharing, to offer myself to the divine. You already shared that. So this is all that comes to me, that even the words that I am speaking, I can only speak those words because there is something higher making me capable of speaking those words. And if I even look at this very fact of my whole being, I would be able to see that there is nothing that I can do. It's just that I am allowed to do by the higher power, and hence I am doing. Therefore, can I make the best use of it? Can I offer myself more and more to this higher power, keeping my own little ego aside, which may be there? I don't have to shoo away the ego at all. Ego has its own purpose. It is, give it a corner. Okay, the ego demands something from this situation, but I also see that what is beneficial for me and the other person in that situation, and that is not listening to the dictate of the ego. And hence I give myself, offer myself to the moment. And it is how I go personally, moment by moment, listening to what is beneficial for me right here in the moment and for the other person. Is it enabling the other person? Is it enabling me? Listening to those dictates. If it is disabling the other person and me, it is making me restless and the other person, then not listen to that dictate. So here doership does not even come into the picture, because I see that there is nothing in my hands. It's very clear actually. There is no theory about it, that I am thinking that there is some higher power. I have no control over the breath. I have no control over the parts and parcels of my body itself. No matter if I am a doctor myself, no matter if I am a dietitian myself, I am still with diseases. So I see that there is, a higher power in operation. Yeah, that is how I think.
So may I just continue? If there is anybody else, I would not like to take up your time to ask. But my concern is that sometimes things that need to be done, actions that need to be undertaken, subtly there is a tendency to avoid, for whatever reasons, whether lack of resources that time, or fear, or not wanting to do confrontational stuff. So sometimes there's a tendency to do that and also say, okay, this is what the higher will so desired. And somewhere inside it also tells you, no, it is not necessarily what the higher will desire, but you lapsed somehow, So that's okay also, one accepts it and one comes to terms with it. So the guiding light and the energy or the courage to discern as well as to take the necessary action is required. So I understand that it would require reflection, it would require being patient with yourself, it would require, slowly mustering up strength and courage in little steps. All that is known here. Okay, somewhere even in the heart it's known, if one is a little more aware to these movements. And yet, what could speed up that process?
You know, Mayaji, I feel that as adults, we become, just mute yourself, there's an echo.
Sorry.
That's okay. So I feel that as adults, we become too careful of not falling and making mistakes. So, you know, imagine a situation where I am not really sure of what is the true will of the divine or what is the benefit for the other person and me, and what is the ego saying. I am not sure. Now there are not many options there. One thing is that I am able to discern clearly what is beneficial for me and the other person, and I take the step in that direction, either staying quiet or taking the stand. Other point can be, okay, I am unsure, this is a mixture that is happening, the ego is confused between the higher will, so this is a mixture, and I want to see what really is happening. I am saying, make the mistake, fall badly on your nose, follow the dictate of your ego, don't be afraid of making a mistake. Because once you have made the mistake, then with the conviction that you rise, oh yes, now I know that was the voice of the ego, will be yours. So as adults, I feel that we are too wary of making mistakes. We must make our own mistakes, newer ones, funnier ones, and owing to the fact that it is our own mistakes and failures when we fall badly on our nose, that we grow in conviction that yes, now I know clearly what is the voice of the ego, how does that sound, and what is the voice of, the higher guiding light or the voice of understanding. So I would say as adults, we should allow ourselves to make more mistakes and fall really badly on our nose, because that really gives me a lot of conviction. Yeah.
Thank you.
So Sejal is asking a question. I'll just say it out loud for everyone. Monica, what are the sure signs that what we hear or assume to be inner voice is from the psychic and not from the mind and vital? This is a very common confusion. Thank you for bringing it up. As you said, the voice of psychic is feeble and muffled owing to our not listening to this all the while, right? So Sejal, the confusion will forever be there. Let us be very hopeless in this situation. It is only by taking steps in whatever direction that you will slowly get to know what was right, and that there was something already poking you in the nose, poking you inside that, hey, don't take that step, but you still took that step. You fell on your nose, and now after falling on your nose, you know clearly that that voice that was coming to me was for real. So as I was talking to Dr. Maya also, be very, very adventurous and make your mistakes on this way. Don't be afraid of falling. That what if I don't listen to the guiding light? What is the worst that can happen? We have already been not following the guiding light for many years. So this is nothing new, right? So the worst that can happen is I will make more mistakes. But now, owing to the fact that I also want to discern between the guiding light and the voice of mind and vital, you will also be able to see clearly for yourself. The vital has a rush. The vital has an agitation to it. Whenever a voice is coming from the ego, it has agitation with it. The voice of psychic, which is actually not a voice, it is just a knowing. It does not have a agitation associated with it. That is one particular signal, that it is very calm. For it, eternity is there. So there is no agitation there. Yeah. So that can be one signal, that anything that wants to promote it with agitation, that do it, else you will lose this point, right? That it is the voice of vital. Yeah. But many a times urgent taking stands may be required, and there it is only you, by your own mistakes, that you will know whether it is the voice of vital, which makes us more restless, agitated, or the guiding light of understanding, which is coming out of eternity. It has lots of time. Even one lifetime passes by, it will say, okay, another lifetime, do it then. Right? So there is enough time in eternity. But as a human birth is precious, we don't have much time. It is good to enter into divine collaboration or path of surrender here and now. Right? So that is what I would say. If there is anything I have not addressed, please ask again.
Hello, hi, hi Monica. Am I audible?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Actually, I was reading something, from the book of the Conscious Adventures of Planes of Consciousness, and just one thing is I have not attended yesterday's session, so I don't know whether you have covered yesterday. But I was reading something on the adverse forces sometimes coming and hitting you. Unnecessary. So I was reading something, and maybe I was also passing through the similar phase. But when you see your cancer phase, do you feel something like that, or how do you see, or whether it is unnecessarily coming and hitting you due to, we don't know the logic behind it.
Beautiful. Yeah. So Yogesh ji, I feel that there are many forces which we may not be aware of, right, which are at work. And definitely there can be adverse suggestions. Mother says that thought forms are floating in the air almost. So if we are sensitive, we just catch it, right? So that can be there. But once my goal is set, once my aspiration is set on peace, then I will be able to reject that adverse suggestion and not being a prey to it. Usually my goal is not set. I am scattered here and there. I don't even know what I want from life. So there I am very prone to adverse suggestions. Any thought forms around, moving around, any depressive thoughts will come and take me away, right? But once I know that I want to grow more in my inner calm and poise, and I want to use this life for self-progression, right? Then any adverse force, whenever it comes, owing to the fact that you are on guard, you will be able to reject it. Now imagine that there is a farmland and there is no fence around that farmland. All the animals will come and destroy the farmland. That is the case with us, usually human beings, in our ordinary consciousness. Any thought comes, destroys us. Any mental suggestion comes, destroys us. Now, owing to the fact that I am consciously on this path and I am vigilant about my own inner sanctity, I have a fence around my own inner poise. This fence is my fence of vigilance. So the moment an adverse suggestion comes, I am able to see it as a sense of unease or burden, and I immediately throw it away. I don't begin to think about it. So this is what I would say, that I now care for the inner sanctity so badly, so much, because I want to do it. I want to love myself and clean myself up. So the moment any stray animal comes and wants to destroy my farmland, I am there on the fence not to let enter it, and begin to viciously think about it. I don't allow that to happen.
Okay, thank you. Thanks.
May I ask a question again? Just again, it may be a reflection of the vital wanting to yearn, but we all know we have limited time on this earth. We all know that anything can happen anytime. Hastening this process of moving towards the divine is something, which I would like to know more. Is spending more time in prayer, reflection, etc., etc. But is there anything more to this? To move, one has to be, of course, everything has to be done with a sense of deep awareness, and that itself can be a journey towards the higher goal and divine. But anything more that you can share from your experience?
Thank you, Maya.
Thank you.
If for example, I say that you are home, we are wanting to be home, we are wanting, divine is our home. And if I tell you today that Maya ji, you are home, so that brings me a lot of relaxation in the being, that I know don't need to run anywhere. Now, knowing the fact that I am home, because we are divine, because apart from divine there is nothing else, right? So I am home, yet there is work to be done. What is the work to be done? Is the inner being is divine. This knowing, where the question is coming from, is divine. It wants to know, it wants to learn, right? But the outer being is in ignorance. So our journey is this connection of inner to outer, right? Imagine that there is sun shining bright and there is a thick wall of curtain, like a brick wall. Now the sun is right there, the sun is not gone anywhere, but the wall is so thick that the light cannot go through. Our task as human beings, I believe, again sharing my own reflections, I believe that the sun, the divine that you are looking for, it is right there. My task is to recognize more of the garbage which is making up this wall, this brick wall. So that slowly I recognize the more and more the garbage, I am able to shoo it away, dissolve it, because the garbage is an illusion. Mother and Sri Aurobindo talk about ignorance. Ignorance is an illusion. It's the illusion of ignorance. So this wall, this brick wall that is made, is an illusory wall. I cannot fight against this wall. Because how can you fight against an illusion? An illusion is not even there. How would you fight against it? So the more I recognize that there is any obscurity in the being, I can just be available to that, as you already shared, awareness. Awareness of any obscurity in my being. The moment I see any burden heavying down, becoming this brick wall, I have to drop it. And dropping does not take any action. Dropping is not an action. Imagine that I realize, oh my God, I am holding a poisonous snake. I don't need to ask a friend, hey, I know that I am holding a poisonous snake, how to drop it. I don't need to ask a friend. If I am able to look clearly that it is poison that I am holding, then dropping is a side effect of looking. Dropping is a side effect of looking. The problem with us human beings is that we don't dare to look closely. So I don't dare to look at the poison that I am holding. I feel that the poison is giving me some benefit. And hence I ask for methods how to drop this, because somewhere I still feel this is very precious. The moment I am able to go closer to this, and what is going closer? Again, this divine sun that shines in all of us, only that can go closer. So whenever I go closer to any movement of my being, any obscurity in my being, it is the divine sun which is going closer. Only that has the power. So you are not away from the divine, and you will never be able to reach the divine because you are never away. We are all there, and hence they say that enlightenment is a myth. There is nothing going to be gotten to you. You can never have anything to be divine. You are divine in a sense. The only task is to change the elements of the being, outer consciousness, from unconsciousness to consciousness, from death to life, from suffering to bliss. There was this article which I wrote for NAMAH, transforming the asuras within. I think I will share it on the WhatsApp group also, where it is in as clear terms as possible. I was able to look at it and shared for myself and then with James that, this is our task as a human being. And that's it. The mother is with us. The divine is in us all the time. We don't have to hanker after it. All that we have to become aware of, anything that becomes obstruction, that becomes a burden, immediately that has to be sensed and dropped. Yeah.
Yes, thank you. Like in Buddhism, they also say that enlightenment is relative truth.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
And Sri Aurobindo says here that we have to grow as a human being from light to greater light, from understanding to greater understanding. So this is, as you said, enlightenment is relative, because whatever we achieve, even when we achieve a little baby step in our life, we see that we can do more. We can go from light to light, greater light to greater light. So there can always be a progression. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Maya.
Thank you, James.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, please. Yes.
Do you have a? I know the mother has written about it somewhere, and I don't know where exactly. But say, for example, for constipation, if you're suffering from constipation chronically, that means you have a tendency to hold back things in your mind and all. So do you have a mapping of of those kind of things which the mother has kind of given somewhere? I don't know where it is, but and in your experience, how have you validated those mappings? Have you seen those in your experience?
Thank you, Dhaval. So I don't have a mapping exactly, because again there is so much of vast words available from the mother that I would not say that I've all mapped wherever linking the emotions to the body. I believe that is what you are saying. But one thing which I realized for my own self was that mother talks about the desired soul and the true soul. Most of the time we believe the desired soul to be the true soul, that this is meri atma ki ichha. We often talk about it, that I feel the need for this in my life. Now the true soul does not have these desires and ambitions, right? Soul is always ready to have the richness of experiences, bring the best of any circumstance. That is the task of the soul, or the right understanding that we were talking of. Now, I have seen that whenever I am involved in things, when I am desiring something in life, my tummy or the lower part or the abdomen, that is affected. Yeah. So all this vital ambitions, and I then read later in Sri Aurobindo's words that the lower vital has place in the lower abdomen. And there was one particular phase when I was going through a deep, intense period of suffering, where there was a lot of desire and hankering for something in life. Once that period was settling down, I experienced a deep peace in the lower vital. in the lower abdomen. That gave me a sense of relation with Sri Aurobindo's words also, that when we are upset in owing to our own desires and bonds of the vital, it disturbs the tummy. You know, it disturbs the digestion, the process of assimilation and digestion. So that thing I would say that if you can talk about mapping, I would say that because most of us suffer from that, we have so many desires from the world and people around us. If we can catch hold of that deep peace in the lower vital, lower abdomen, settle a deep peace in that region and not run after those desires and ambitions, that is a great benefit of getting peace into the being. I don't know if I have directly addressed what you were asking, but yeah, relatively.
Yeah, thank you.
So any lasting comments or anything, any reflection or question to share? I think we are almost towards the end.
Yes, please step forward, anyone that wants to say anything.
Okay, this is Komla again.
Yeah, hi.
Hi, Komla.
Hello, James, everyone, and Monica. Thank you so much. Again, I would like to just add on here that the analogy of the mirage that you shared, it's beautiful. Because if you look at it, that is what we do. We keep chasing the mirage thinking there is water. And if that same concept we apply on ourselves and look at our egos and things that are disturbing and burdening us, and just like you did, the nervousness you took out and looked at it and just, it's not that important, just leave it. So, you know, thank you so much for that. We can always, I have made so many notes for the last 3 days. I've been writing whatever you're saying. And I'm sure they're going to help me. And yes, the things that burden us, I don't know, we know that things are burdening us. And at the same time, I don't know why we keep pampering and nurturing those burdens. And there is a fight, yes. The inner and the outer self, there is a fight. We are aware. We know there is a feeble voice at the back of our mind telling us, "Ye sahi nahi hai, you don't need to, don't bother, just chuck it." But still we keep that burden, and yes, we give a lot of importance to that. But it creates uneasiness, it's disturbing. But at the same time, leaving that burden is also discomforting. But we have to go through that to be able to become a better, peaceful person. So thank you so much for your insights today and your sharing. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing. Thank you.
Beautifully put. Okay, so yeah, so we'll call a halt to the proceedings for today. Thank you so much, Monica, for the great discovery. We're almost there. We are there. We're always there. So we meet again tomorrow for the last session. Very sad, but the last session tomorrow, 10 o'clock, Indian Standard Time. Understanding illness. See you all then. Until then, goodbye.